in one of my videos that I invest in the S&P 500. And when I showed how good the S&P 500 investment is in that video, ever since that, loads of people have been asking in my comment section that I show them how to also invest in the S&P 500. And I keep postponing. I keep saying next week. I keep saying next month. So today is the day. Today I have my laptop here because I am going to actually do it for a friend. So I'll be showing you the step-by-step process. But for those of you who are hearing S&P 500 for the first time, I'll go into a bit more detail what it is, the benefits, the risk involved, what you should know about it, some mistakes to avoid, and all of that. So if you're interested, guys, stay tuned. Stop that. So hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am not a financial advisor. I am only a nurse based in the UK, but originally from Ghana. So do not let this replace professional financial advice. This is just based on information that I have personally learned from one of my financial mentors. I'll leave his YouTube channel here, Dr. Shadrach. He's a professor here in the UK and he's a nurse as well, right? And he's big on finance. He's done loads of research on finance. He knows everything about finance. So I learned this from him, honestly. And after that, I have been researching on my own to learn more about this, and I realized that this is actually good. So I also started investing in the S&P 500 a little over 2 years ago. So guys, this is just a disclaimer. Do not let this replace financial advice. After you have heard it from me, or after you go watch it on Dr. Shadrach Dare's channel, you should also do your own research because you're working hard for your money before you invest in anything at all. Guys, please do your own research, okay? But personally, I have been investing in the S&P 500 for over 2 years, and I am so happy I got to know about it. Honestly, I am so happy. And let me start. So I don't want to bore anybody in this particular video, right? So this particular video is in chapters. So for you, if you already know about the benefits, the risk, and whatever all about the S&P 500, and you only want to skip to the part where I show you the step-by-step on how to actually start, just skip to that part. I'll leave the timestamps on here as well, so you can just skip. Don't bother yourself watching the introduction and all of that. Just skip to that part so that I don't bore anybody. So what is the S&P 500? So the S&P 500 is a type of investment. Let me explain. You hear some people say that they are investing in, let's say, Apple, or they are investing in, let's say, Tesla, because they believe in the brand. They believe that the brand is going to do well and they're going to make some money from their investment, or let's say some dividends or profit or interest or however you want to call it, right? But the risk involved is that you are only believing in one particular company, right? So should it go bad, I mean, that's it. So let's talk about, let's say, High Five, or there used to be a popular social media channel called High Five. It used to be like Facebook. It was so popular at the time. So let's say at the time you had money, right? And then you decided to invest in High Five. Now, High Five is no more. I don't think these Gen Z kids even know of High Five. Now, High Five is gone. Like, nobody even knows about it. So you would have lost your money if that company that you so believed in, years later, it fails, right? So that is why investing in individual companies can be a bit risky, in my opinion. However, if you believe in that brand with all your chest, go for it. But the S&P 500 is totally different. So when you invest in the S&P 500, you are investing in the top 500 companies of the USA. And so the S&P 500, it's a fund. So if you invest £50 today, a bit of your money is invested in all these 500 companies in the US. So let's have a look at the companies that fall under the S&P 500. Like I said, they are the top 500 companies in the USA, right? And then anytime a company is not doing well, the company is dropped and replaced by the one that is doing well. Years ago, Tesla was not part, but now Tesla is part of the S&P 500. So it's like your money is safe. You don't have to go do the research to find out which company is doing well to invest in. It's automatic. Once you invest in the S&P 500, a bit of your money is invested in the top 500 companies at that point in time in the US. Let's have a look at the examples of these companies. So let's look at companies under S&P 500. So this is a list of all the companies under S&P 500. Obviously, 500 companies, I definitely will not know all of them. But on this particular website, they have arranged them according to the weight of the companies, according to how much money the company has, right? So number one is Apple, right? This laptop is Apple, my phone is Apple, my iPad is Apple, my AirPods Apple. I mean, Apple is a huge brand. So if you're investing in the S&P 500, a bit of your money goes to Apple. This is also Nvidia Corp. I have no idea what it is. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. So Meta owns Instagram, Meta owns Facebook, which is huge. So a bit of your money is invested in Facebook and on Instagram. Alphabet Incorporated, I have no idea what it is. Another Alphabet Incorporated, Class C. I think think it has to do with Google. I'm not sure, because if I can see it here, I think the symbol is Google. It looks like Google. Berkshire, Broadcom, Tesla, JP Morgan. There's so many of them. There's Walmart. For those who live in the US, you know of Walmart. For those who live in the UK, Walmart is more like the Tesco's of America, right? And then there's Netflix, there's Bank of America. There's so many popular. I can see Coca-Cola here. There's McDonald's, there's Adobe, there's Pfizer, the company that does all the vaccines and all of that. There is S&P Global Incorporated, so S&P itself. There is American Express. I mean, there's so many of them. There's Starbucks, popular Starbucks brand coffee shop. There is T-Mobile. There is Intel. There is Nike. There is, I mean, so many of them. I mean, I can't go through all 500. There is so many. There's CVS Health, you know, popular pharmacies in America. There is so many, so many of them. So what I'm trying to say is, if you invest in the S&P 500, a bit of your money is spread across all these, and these are top companies, so it's safer. Another reason why I invest personally in the S&P 500 is that it's not just one type of industry. So it's not just all pharmaceutical companies or only airlines or let's say only food industries. It's spread across. We have healthcare companies, they have food industry or beverage companies, they have technology companies. So it's spread across. So it's like you are investing in every sector. Why is that important? So remember, during COVID, there was no travel, all flights and everything ceased for a period, right? So imagine at the time, if you were investing in British Airways, at that time, your money will go down. And if that was your only hope, your money would definitely drop because they were not traveling as much anymore, right? All the airlines stopped working, the airports were closed and all of that. So at that time, you will lose money. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future, which industry is likely to be affected by whatever in the future. So with S&P 500, it's safe because it's a bit of every industry that you can think of. I mean, so it's safer that way, right? And another thing is that S&P 500 has been in existence for so long. So let me Google how long S&P 500 has been in existence. So the S&P 500, according to this website, has been in existence since 1923. So those are the benefits. What about the risk? So just like any type of investment, they tell you that because it's been doing well for so many years does not mean that it's going to do well for, you know, the next 30 years. Maybe it could collapse or it could go down. So just like any type of investment, nothing is ever 100% assured. Okay, so those are the negative parts or the risk involved. So that's what I would say is the negative aspect of it. How do you invest in it? So somebody asked me whether it's an app where you have to download, and no. So because of the way this is, right, you cannot invest in it directly. You have to first of all have what we call a brokerage account. You have to do a brokerage account, or it has to be done on your behalf. And then the only way you do this is through an ETF. So an ETF is an exchange traded fund. So you use an ETF to buy this on your behalf. So that's the only way that you can do that. It's not an app where you can download. There's no S&P 500 websites where you can go. No, you have to get a brokerage account and do it through an ETF. So some of the popular or the biggest brokerage account is Vanguard, JP Morgan, BlackRock and all of that. But I think the top, especially in the UK, for people who are watching me from the UK, is Vanguard. So you'd have to first of all create or open an account with Vanguard. And the good thing is that there's so many types of investments. For me, my favorite is the S&P 500 because of all that I have told you so far, right? But if you want to do in other things as well, you still need a brokerage account. If you want to invest in, let's say, bonds or companies in Asia or all of these types of index funds and investments, you need to have a brokerage account. So opening an account in Vanguard is not only for S&P 500. You can use it for so many other things, and I'll show you very, very soon. But like I said, do your research before you use Vanguard. There's so many different accounts that you can, create. So it's just like saying that, how do I make a phone call with my phone? First of all, you need a SIM card with a company. So with SIM cards or with a network company, we have O2, we have Vodafone, we have so many of them. So you would research and see which one works best for you based on the country you are in, the currencies and all of that. And for me, Vanguard was the best. A lot of people in America use JP Morgan. Other people also use BlackRock and all of that. Let's see past performance of some of the things that they have. Okay, what they offer. Let's look at the graph. So let's look at, let's say, the last 18 months. So the last 18 months. So let's say on the 5th of May, if you invested around £77, that's last year, May. At the moment, is about £108. So that's just an example. But they always say that past performance does not predict future success. assess, okay? So you always have to be careful. And then past performance based on a lump sum investment. So let's look at past performance based on a lump sum investment. So let's look at 5 years. If you invested, let's say, just $10,000 around 2019 in October, if you had taken your money around 2021, it would have been 15,283. But look at it over here, it dropped. 2022 around COVID, it dropped to 12,921. So if you had withdrawn your money around December 2021, you'd have gotten 16,000. However, if you had withdrawn it in July 2022, you'd have gotten 12,900. But let's remember that the money we invested was 10,000, so you'd have gotten only 2,000. How about now, currently? So currently, if you invested $10,000 in 2019 November, it's currently $20,000. Okay, that's how much you'd have gotten. So this is just like a 5-year. So basically, that is that. Like I said, the graph keeps going up, coming down, going up. Sometimes it actually dips quite a bit, but then it comes up again, comes up again, comes up again. Although it's going up, down, up, down, up, down. Overall, when you compare it to 2023, like it's really going up if you compare. Okay, so basically that's what I mean by the graph. But for me, I don't just monitor this. I don't monitor this at all. I am just, investing, and that's it. Let's look at another type. Okay, so let's look at another product. Let's look at the FTSE. Let's look at UK companies. Let's look at the FTSE. So the FTSE 100 is also top 100 companies in the UK, right? And it's also a risk of 6 out of 7. Let's look at the full fund details. So at the moment, the market price is £41, okay? And then the ongoing charge is 0.09%. And there's about 102 stocks. So if you invest, a little bit of your money is invested in all these 102 companies. Let's look at the past performance for this one as well. If you invested, let's say 18 months, if you invested around £37 in May of 2023. Today, you are going to get £41. It's not much. I mean, it's not much. But if you had withdrawn your money around 2024 May, you'd have gotten £42 from your £37. It's not really much. So basically, that gives you an idea. But like I said, it's compound interest. This is just putting that £37 and not touching it, just putting it down. But for me, I'm making regular payments of £100 every month at least. And then let's look at the same FTSE 100. If you had invested based on a lump sum investment, if you had invested, let's say, £10,000 in 2019 and then you didn't touch it, by now of October 2024 is now about 13,304. So you've gotten about 3,000. And I bet you if your money had been in your bank account the entire time, you wouldn't have gotten this much interest or profit on it. Okay, so basically this is what the S&P 500 is about, or FTSE 100, or investment in stocks and shares is all about. But remember that past performance does not predict future success, or however they say. So you have to do your own research and then see what you like. So basically that is that. And another reason why I like Vanguard is that they have low charges. Like I said, they are doing it on your behalf. So they are going to charge you when you are withdrawing your money and all of that. I'll show you all of that once we go onto the laptop. They have low charges and they've also been in existence for over 40 years. So that's why I use Vanguard. But do your research and choose what you want. So the way S&P 500 works is, for me, you can actually just invest some money. You can buy shares or stocks or however they call it. And then when you buy it, they invest your money in these companies and then they'll give you what we call dividends, let's say every 3 months. But it depends on you. You can either choose to receive the dividend every 3 months, or you can either choose to reinvest the dividend. So for me, what I do is that I just reinvest the dividend. So I have never taken any of the dividends ever since I started investing in the S&P 500. And in another video, I'll actually show you how much I've invested so far and how much I have gained so far. So you can just keep reinvesting. And this thing works by compound interest. And in one of my videos, I explained exactly what we mean by compound interest. That is why compound interest has made a lot of even very poor people millionaires. There's a story of this popular cleaner who died, and then apparently he was a millionaire, and everybody was shocked because you've worked as a cleaner all your life. How did you end up as a millionaire? Not knowing that this man was actually investing in some companies, and then he has been investing for years, and he keeps reinvesting his dividends, and then it becomes cumulative, and now he gets money on everything, and for so long. With these types of investment, you don't just do it for 3 months or 2 months or 5 months. The gurus say that at least 5 years, but for me, I'm not even looking at 5 years. I'm looking at maybe 20 years when I am retired or something like that, because with compound interest, it just works with a matter of time. The longer you save, the more the returns, honestly. And I will show you again on the screen once we go there. So this is a short clip of how I explained the whole compound interest thing in one of my videos about the S&P 500. So if you don't know what compound interest is like, let me give you an example. So let's say I invest $1,000, okay, and let's say with the S&P 500, the returns is 8% per year. So that means at the end of the year, my $1,000 will become $1,080, okay. Instead of taking the $80, I make sure that the $80 is still there. So in the second year, I'll add another $1,000, okay. When I add another $1,000, I now have $2,080. So now the interest, the 8% interest will be calculated on the $2,080, okay. So this time around, the interest is I'm going to get, or the returns is not $80. The interest is going to be 166.40, okay. And this 166.40 added to my 2,080 will be 2,246.40. The 8% interest for the following year will be calculated based on this amount that I now have, okay. So initially it may seem small, but it grows so fast and it becomes so huge. So for instance, between 1957 and 2021, okay, if somebody deposited or invested $5,000 in the S&P 500, they said that between that period, the average returns for the S&P 500 per year was 10.5% per year, okay, 10.5%. That means there were years between 1957 and 2021 is like 64 years, okay. They said averagely the returns on the S&P 500 was 10.5% per year. That is for those who were not taking their returns every year. Those that were reinvesting their returns, the average was 10.5%. For those that were taking their returns was like 6.6%, okay. So let me give an example. If in 1957 you had $5,000 investment, or you invested $5,000 in the S&P 500, in 2021, based on this, you were going to have $2.98 million. That is if you never touched your returns and you always reinvested. So that compound interest thing would have given you $2.98 million. Note that this returns is averagely 10.5%, okay. What this means is that the average, what this means is that there were some years that it went more than the 10.5%, and there were some years that it dropped. For instance, in the 2000s, okay, there was even a time where the returns went to minus 38%. So if somebody only invested that year and they gave up, they've lost their money, right? So now we are going to go to Vanguard. So that's what I'm going to use for my friend. Like I said, for me, I already have an account, so I cannot use mine. So I'm just going to go to Vanguard. So this is the Vanguard UK website. So I am going to go there. This is how it looks like. So this is the home page, right? This is how it looks like. So over here, it says open an account now. So it says open an account in 3 steps. You pick the right account for you. You choose your funds, you decide how much you want to invest, and then you can start investing from £100 a month or one of £500. So they have different types of accounts that you can open. Another thing that I do as well is that ever since I bought it, I also do monthly investment. So I have set up a direct debit where every month I input a little bit of something that I earn onto it, okay. So aside my money working for me, every month I also make a contribution as well, and I just keep reinvesting my dividend. So over here is why Vanguard. They have 40 years of experience, like I mentioned, and then they use 4 simple principles. And what they offer, they have life strategy funds, retirement funds, index and active funds, ETFs, so many of them. And you can also invest in education and my accounts, blah blah blah. So I'm going to go to open an account. I don't want to waste so much time, so I'm going to go to open an account. If you already have a Vanguard account, you can log in to apply. So when you are trying to open an account, I'll say that always select stocks and shares ISA account, okay. So when you select stocks and shares ISA account, just like they've written here, you can invest up to £20,000 tax free. So obviously you can invest up to £20,000 without any tax. And for those who will be taking their dividends at the end of, let's say, every 3 months, if you don't choose stocks and shares ISA, and I learned this from Dr. Dari, every 3 months, if you don't choose this type of account, when you are taking your interest, it will be charged. They will take tax from it. It will be taxed. Let me say it like that. It will be taxed. So let's say open a stocks and shares ISA. So choose how to open your account. So you can either start with a payment of from £500 or set up a monthly payment, or you can transfer an ISA that you already have to them. So for this video, I'm just going to start with a payment for my friend. So now choose how you want to invest. Okay, so you do it yourself. You choose your own investment. So this way you're going to build your own portfolio from a wide range of funds, including index funds, active funds, and ETFs. Or you choose from our range of already made portfolios. So you will pay a 0.15% account fee on your investment, capped at £375 per year, plus fund charges from 0.06 depending on the funds you choose. And then there's this other option where they will do it for you. They choose the type of investment that you do. So let me say that just like the example I gave, that if you buy a phone and you want to make a phone call, you need a network. So the network in this case that you need to be able to make your phone calls and send text messages is the Vanguard or the brokerage account. So I'm using Vanguard or let's say Vodafone. Let's not forget that after you've even bought the SIM card or after you've even created the account, you still have to buy data, or you'd have to pay every month for your data and your calls and all of that. So the same with Vanguard as well. They also have to make money. So they charge on transactions, but these transactions are extremely low, especially with Vanguard. You can pay like 0.00 whatever, depending on the type of investment that you are doing. I am specific. I know what I want. I know I want S&P 500. So I'm going to do it myself. I don't want them to choose for me. So when you come here, it's saying that how it works. So it says you apply online, which usually takes a few minutes. Your stocks and shares ISA account is open. Your payment is invested as soon as possible, so you get the next available price for the funds you've chosen. It can take a few working days for your investment to show as complete in your account. It can take a few working days for your investment to show as complete in your account. You need your national insurance number, and then you also need your debit card details if you make a single payment of 500 minimum per fund. You also need your bank account details if you make monthly payments of at least £100 minimum per fund. Okay, so let's continue. So first of all, confirm you're eligible. You are a UK tax resident. This person I'm doing it for is a UK tax resident. You do not live in the Channel Islands or the Isle of Man. No, this person does not live there. This person lives in England. You are not a US citizen or a US passport holder or a US person for tax purposes. No, you are at least 18 years old. So this particular one that we are choosing, this my friend is eligible. So if you're in the US, there's another way that you can do it and probably not to use this. So obviously I am going to choose a username, a password, confirm password, email address, and input my friend's details. So I'm going to do that right now. So after you create the password and then you connect it to an email address, now it's going to ask your title, your legal name, your middle name, and your last name. So let's do that. And then it's going to ask you for your address as well, and then you put in your address. Then it's going to ask for your date of birth, so you put that there as well. It's also going to ask for your nationality. So this person is from Ghana, so I've put Ghana there. And then they are asking for your national passport number, or it's asking for your national passport number. So after you put in your passport based on the nationality that you gave, it's also going to ask for your UK national insurance number. So I'm going to input my friend's number there. So now it's asking us to choose our funds. So it says tell us which funds you want to invest in. You can choose more than one. Always read the key investor information before deciding which funds are right for you. And then if you need help with your funds as well, they are saying that if you're not sure which funds to pick, they can do it for you based on how you feel about risk. They will manage your stocks and shares ISA for you every step of the way. So over here, there are so many other ones, ready-made portfolios that, you know, they have done that you can use to invest. And another thing too is that you can add cash to your account. So you can always add cash to your account and the money will be sitting in the account but not invested. So let's say you win a lottery, you're not sure which types of stocks and shares to invest in or which kinds of funds or whatever to do. You can just input the cash over there and let it rest. Whenever you're ready, then you invest. So now we're going to continue. So we're going to choose a fund. So they are saying that we have to choose a fund that we want to invest in. So they already have the ready-made portfolios where, you know, you can go through and see if you like that one, or you can build your own portfolio. For us, we know what we want. Know that we want to build our own portfolio. So these are the different types. I think for me, I also do the FTSE 100 or something like that. And that is the top 100 companies in Europe. I think I do it as I'm not so passionate about that one. So I think I've only put in about £50 or so, right? But the one that I want to do for my friend today is the S&P 500. And we are going to choose the S&P 500 UCITS ETF accumulating. Okay, that's the one we're going to choose. You see that with the same S&P 500, there are two different types. We have accumulating and then we have distributing. So the difference is that income share classes pay income out to their investors, while accumulating share classes lets the income build up or accumulate. So like we would just keep accumulating the interest and all of that. So for that reason, we're not ready to have it now. And then if you want key investor information, you can click on that one and then read about it, read about exactly what you're doing. But obviously this is not the time to do that because I have already read it for myself, right? So I'm just going to choose this one, S&P 500 UCITS ETF, and I'm choosing accumulating. So continue, right? So they are saying that I can make a single payment by debit card, 500 minimum per fund, or I can make a monthly payment by direct debit, 100 minimum per fund. I can do both. I can do either or both, and I can pay up to £20,000 into an ISA each tax year tax-free. The rest will be taxed. So what type of payment would you like to make? So I would like to do both. I'd like to do a single payment now, and then my friend will also do monthly payments every month. So the single payment now, I'm going to input 500. That's what they said, right? And then monthly payment. Let me see if they will accept £50. So now I'm going to input the payment details. Obviously, you don't have to choose it. So the monthly payment has to be 100. Okay, so £100. All right. So date of first payment, let's say I'll make it January. It's 00102 2025. So I just downloaded the cost and the charges. So they're saying that below is your estimated investment cost and charges for your stocks and shares. These costs and charges are based on the amount you told us you are investing now. So you get a statement once a year of your actual cost and your charges. So these are just an estimate to help you understand your cost and charges clearly. We've shown the total cost and charge of new investments presented in both monetary and percentage terms, the account fees, the cost that you pay for the provision of the Vanguard Investor online service, and then the fund management cost. These are costs taken by the fund manager out of the fund automatically. So it looks like account fees total cost will be like £1.73, fund management cost will be £1.25, and the total will be £2.98. I think this is just for a year based on the information that we've given them. So basically that's that. So now continue. So these are the details that you're going to review, okay, and then you continue. So now we've made a payment, we put in our card details and we made payment. So it says a single payment of, and then the date would actually show in the account. So when you're doing this for the first time, it can be a bit slow, okay? So this is the expected dates that the payment will be invested. They've written 8 November. So they're saying that it can take a few working days for your investment to show as complete. So you can go back to your account. So now the money that you have put is in your ISA account, or let's say your ISA pot in Vanguard. So now we have put in £500 into our ISA pot on Vanguard. The tricky thing is that the fact that it's in there does not mean you've invested it. After this has reflected, they said it can take about 2 or 3 days to reflect. After it has reflected, you need to open your account again and come in here and then buy an investment, okay? But at the moment, they are saying that we only have 0.00 cash available, so we cannot invest. However, after 2 to 3 days, it should be reflected and we'll be able to actually buy the investment. And then based on how much it is at that time, when it reflects, then we can buy it. So at the moment, we only have the money sitting on Vanguard in our wallet in Vanguard. It has not been invested yet. Don't get it twisted. And that was an error that I was making. Now back to mistakes to avoid. So I was advised that you don't have to always keep checking how much do I have, how much do I have. You'll be tempted to even remove it. Just give it some time. Give it 10 years, give it 5 years. And the thing about the graph is it's always going up, going down, going back in terms of how well it's performing. But overall, in general, you see that it's going up. So just don't worry. Just keep your mind off it. So that's literally what I did. I kept my mind off it. Even when I receive an email from Vanguard in my mail, I don't even open it. And that was very wrong on my part. So apparently what I was doing was that every month that I invest there, I sent in the 100. Apparently, it was going to the S&P 500, but it was only buying how much it was at the time. So let's say that it was, let's say £50 or £55. It was only buying £55 because my £100 was not enough to buy 2. It was only buying 55, and the rest was just sitting in the Vanguard wallet doing nothing for maybe years until a friend alerted me to this fact that I have money sitting in there that I'm not using it for anything. And to me, I've invested £100, not knowing that maybe I was investing 50, 60, and the rest were just accumulating in my wallet. So once in a while, you have to go back and see if there's any extra cash just accumulated in your wallet and reinvest that amount of money. I hope you understand. The gurus will be able to explain it better. So basically, this is how it is done. So let's look at the ETFs, an example, and let's look at, let's say USA, right? And let's look at our S&P 500. So with the S&P 500, obviously, like I said, it is based in the US and the risk level is 6 out of 7. So they rate the risk involved out of 7. So 1 is least risky, 2 is, like that. So 6 means it's quite risky. I don't know how they used to measure it. And then number of assets is about 509 holdings. And the ongoing charge for this is 0.07%. That's how much Vanguard will charge you when you're making transactions. And this is what you're investing in. And then it's 100% shares. Some of the types of investment on Vanguard, it has bonds as well, and bonds are basically the government using your money and then they'll pay you something. But from what I have learned, those ones usually the interest is very, very low. Yes, so those ones, the risk are also very low. So let's see full fund details for the S&P 500. So once again, you could have come here and just click invest now, and then let's say you view your basket, continue to purchase, and then let's say invest now. So like I said, our money is not showing yet, okay? So we can always come back again to add it. we have to give it about 2 or 3 days to show. Okay, so basically that's that. After a few days, you can go back and then recheck if the money is now appearing in your account, in your cash, and then you invest in the type of investments that you want to do. And as always, like I said, once in a while, just open the account and check if you have any money just lying around in the wallet, and then make sure that you have good use of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If this has been of benefit to you, or if there's anything that I forgot to add, please leave in the comments below. It's so simple and easy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.